My sister-in-law is obsessed with betting on stones and live streaming rooms and makes a big fuss, demanding to sell the house to buy one. But I always feel that it's unreliable. So I found many cases of people going bankrupt and jumping off buildings due to betting on stones. After finally persuading her, it turned out that 3 days later, the stone bet on in the live streaming room was cut open and its price soared. And it was sold at 3 times the price. But my sister-in-law blamed this all on me, saying how could I cut off her source of wealth in order to have money to bet on stones smoothly next. She and my parents found an old bachelor. After knocking him unconscious, they sent me to him in exchange for betrothal gifts. The old bachelor is extremely abnormal. He locks me on the bed with an iron chain. Whenever he is a little unhappy, he pokes me hard with a cigarette butt. 2 months later, seeing that I still wasn't pregnant, he beat me to death with a stick after getting drunk. When I opened my eyes again, I went back to the day when my sister-in-law wanted to bet on stones. 1. Come and see quickly. This betting stone will definitely increase in value a lot. Shall we sell the house and buy it? My sister-in-law's shrill voice echoed in the living room. This voice immediately brought me back to my previous life. She also said that she wanted to sell the house to bet on stones. But in order not to bear all the consequences herself, she came in and asked me, Keon, do you think I should take a gamble? I'm telling you, there have been many cases of price increases in this live streaming room. In fact, those who often watch national and RFAB programs all understand this kind of routine. Obviously, it's a self-directed and self-acted script. How can there be so many real price increases? I found many examples of people failing in betting on stones, losing everything and finally being forced to jump off buildings. As soon as my parents heard this, they quickly stopped her. Caroline, we are just on a stroll, people. Don't do such things. My sister-in-law had no choice but to give up. But unexpectedly, 3 days later, after this betting stone was cut open, its price soared and it was sold at 3 times the price. My sister-in-law was so angry that she came to my room and scolded me. You little bitch. If it weren't for you stopping me, I would be worth millions now. She even encouraged my elder brother and parents to beat and kick me together. Finally, they directly locked me in the room. My sister-in-law suddenly changed her attitude. She came in to apply medicine to me and brought me a new set of clothes. She also said with a smile, Keon, it was all sister-in-law's fault yesterday. Here, this is a meal cooked by sister-in-law herself. Eat it quickly. After being hungry for a day, I didn't think so much. After gobbling it up, I soon found that I couldn't control myself and finally fainted. When I woke up again, I saw myself in a dilapidated room. An old man with yellow teeth was looking at me happily. From his mouth, I learned that my sister-in-law sold me to him for money. Now I am his. I immediately knelt down in fright and cried and begged him to let me go. Seeing me cry, the old bachelor became even more excited. He handcuffed my hands to the bed. When he was happy, he would say a few words to coax me. As long as he lost when gambling and had some drinks, he would take a whip and start to beat me and burn me hard with an unextinguished cigarette. 2 months later, seeing that I still wasn't pregnant, the old bachelor angrily found an old traditional Chinese medicine doctor to examine me. But I had already had severe malnutrition, which made it very difficult for me to get pregnant. The old bachelor had some drinks at night, and became more and more angry when looking at me. He picked up a stick nearby, and knocked me to the ground. When I woke up again, what I saw was my familiar room. When I saw my sister-in-law rush into my room again and ask about betting on stones, I also saw my parents blinking desperately behind. I looked at my sister-in-law with a smile. Sister-in-law, you are really amazing. You have figured this out so thoroughly in such a short time. But I support whatever you do. I believe that mom and dad are the same, right? 2. Seeing that I didn't persuade my sister-in-law according to their ideas, my parents' faces were stunned. I tilted my head and looked at them. Mom and Dad, don't you want to give money to my sister-in-law? But also, You may not believe that my sister-in-law will definitely succeed in betting. Right? My sister-in-law Caroline usually likes to drag me down. No matter what happens. She wants me to take the lead and enjoy the benefits behind. After all, she doesn't want to leave a reputation of mistreating her parents-in-law. And my parents always like to put pressure on me. After I say all the bad things, they comfort my sister-in-law and give her a sweetener. My elder brother is a transparent person. In such matters, he always pretends not to see or hear. He is mainly a transparent person. So in my previous life, their family of 4 was a loving family. And I was the one who was not loved by my father or mother. I was the troublemaker in the neighbor's mouth. After I died, their family found the old bachelor and threatened and blackmailed him, forcing the old bachelor to sell his old house and pay a sum of money. The family lived happily. Since my reputation is so bad, it doesn't matter if it's a little worse. In this life, I will definitely make your family ruined. Hearing this, my sister-in-law was a little unhappy and turned around to look at them. Mom and Dad, is that so? You really don't believe me? My parents didn't react for a while. My mom took my sister-in-law's hand and persuaded her. Caroline, look at what you said. How could Mom and Dad not support you? However, our family can't take out the money all at once. Besides, this house can't be sold easily. This is the guarantee for our whole family. Right? My sister-in-law unhappily shook off her hand. After all that talk, you still don't believe me. Caroline, look at what you said. How could Mom not believe you? But Mom always sees people being cheated by watching such live broadcasts. Mom is just worried about you. My mom was so angry that she glared back at me and forced me to persuade my sister-in-law with her eyes. I coughed lightly and turned to look at my sister-in-law. Sister-in-law, don't be angry. You must pay attention to the child in your belly. You can't be angry now. Hearing my words, my sister-in-law's face turned pale and then pale again. She looked a little flustered. She may not know why I could know this. In fact, it still has to be attributed to that old bachelor. At that time, when I was locked in the room, the old bachelor drank too much and beat and scolded while drinking. Your damn woman can't even get pregnant. You are not as good as your sister-in-law. At the beginning, it would have been better to have a second and one. Your sister-in-law has been pregnant for several months. I see that you haven't shown any signs after 2 months. So calculated according to the time at that time. My sister-in-law is already pregnant now. However, my elder brother has been on a business trip for 3 months and will only come back tomorrow. As for this matter, I really want to see how she explains it. 3. My parents' faces changed instantly. My dad excitedly said, "Well, Caroline, is it really true? Have you checked? Is it a boy or a girl?" After all, my mom is a woman. She immediately grasped the key point and inevitably had many questions about this matter. No, Caroline, Xiao Hao has been away for 3 months. How can you be pregnant? But my sister-in-law had already come to her senses because of what just happened. She stared at my mom's face incredulously and shouted loudly, "Mom, what do you mean? Could it be that I went out and had an affair? Besides, Raminton has only been away for less than 3 months. Isn't it normal for me to be pregnant? I know. You just want to wrong me in order to prevent me from buying this stone. Right?" My parents were stunned by her fallacy and didn't know how to explain it all. I saw my sister-in-law pick up her mobile phone and dial my elder brother's number. She started crying and complaining. "Raymond, come back quickly. I can't stay in this family for a moment. When you come back, we will get a divorce. The son will follow me. You will never see your son again." My elder brother was scolded inexplicably on the phone. He kept comforting her and said that he would come back overnight. And my dad, when he heard my sister-in-law mention his son, excitedly stepped forward and said, "Caroline, you said son. Have you checked? Is it a son?" My sister-in-law gave my dad an angry look. "Yes. I was thinking that I wouldn't tell you until it's been 3 months. Who knew that I would be suspected of fooling around outside? Fine. Since you don't want to recognize this child. Hearing this, my dad finally couldn't hold back. He slapped my mom's face a few times and scolded loudly. You damn woman. You always gossip. Now that we finally have a grandson, if something goes wrong because of this matter, I'll beat you to death. Then he looked at me fiercely. And you? Your sister-in-law is pregnant now. You have to take good care of her. Don't let me see you being lazy. I nodded and said obediently, Don't worry, Dad. I will definitely take good care of her. My mom was dragged back to the room by my dad like this. After entering, I heard all kinds of begging for mercy from my mom. There was also my dad's curse mixed in. You old poisonous woman. If something happens because of this matter, and my daughter-in-law goes back to her mother's house, I will skin you. Don't forget that this daughter-in-law was married with a betrothal gift of 200,000 yuan. If you cause trouble for me for no reason, then I will sell you and marry a wife for my son again. In my previous life, my parents spent a lot of effort to marry a wife for my elder brother. They spent a lot of betrothal gifts. Only then did they find my sister-in-law. The matchmaker guaranteed one after another. I have matched so many couples. She is definitely able to give birth to a boy. This guarantee made my parents spend 200,000 yuan to marry an ancestor for my elder brother to serve. Now that my parents know that my sister-in-law is pregnant, they dare not say anything to my sister-in-law, and can only let her do as she pleases. My elder brother came back in the early morning. For the first time, he was so angry at my mom. Mom, what you did today is really outrageous. If the child in Caroline's belly is not mine, whose could it be? When you say that about her, aren't you slapping me in the face? After being scolded by the two of them this time, my mom finally became a little more honest. In the past 2 days, she has been bossed around by my sister-in-law, but my sister-in-law's heart has always been on that betting stone. Finally, 3 days later, this stone was cut open a little. It was indeed full of green. The anchor in the live streaming room was stunned when he saw it. After regaining his senses, he said, Congratulations to this lucky audience. We now have 2 options. One is that we directly buy your stone at a high price, but we will give you the money after the auction ends. The other is to directly send the stone to you. You can sell it directly. What do you think? As everyone knows, going to an auction and then getting the money back will also deduct a lot of taxes and rebates. After I explained it to my sister-in-law, she decisively chose to have it sent back directly. When my parents saw that they had earned several times the amount in just 3 days, their eyes almost popped out. Caroline, this is earned? My sister-in-law gave them a disdainful look. Of course. My parents were so happy that they didn't know what to say. They immediately said that when the stone arrived, they would hold a banquet to let everyone see how powerful their daughter-in-law was. Soon, after the stone was sent over, my elder brother and sister-in-law excitedly opened the express delivery. 5. Immediately after, my sister-in-law and my elder brother still wanted to open the others and take pictures to post on Moments. I directly stopped them. Brother, sister-in-law, since you want a surprise, why not open it during the meal? Wouldn't the surprise be even greater then? Looking at them with smiles almost disappearing into their eyes. They were not like they used to be towards me. They nodded repeatedly and said, Yes, yes, yes. You are right. The 4 of them began to make arrangements to invite relatives and friends, and book the most luxurious hotel in our place. On the night before they were about to invite relatives, seeing the 4 of them in the living room, I walked over and said to them with a smile, Mom and Dad, now that sister-in-law is pregnant, in order to take better care of my nephew in the future, I found a place where they specifically train maternity matrons. This way, after my nephew is born, our family won't need to hire a maternity matron. My parents completely didn't expect me to say this. Even my sister-in-law, who usually didn't like me very much, was surprised. Since you've said so, then go. But I tell you, even if you learn it, you have to pay for it yourself. Don't think about asking me to pay for you. The money we earn will all belong to my son in the future. There are many places where money will be spent. I smiled and said repeatedly, yes. Yes. Of course. How could I compete with my nephew for money to spend? So I started packing up my things and prepared to leave early in the morning. In fact, when this stone was being unpacked, I realized that in my previous life, my sister-in-law only saw that the stone cut open a little bit and increased in value in the live streaming room. She didn't see the rest at all. If it really increased so much in value, would the merchant let it go so easily? So, I must leave before they completely unpack it. Early in the morning of the next day, I packed my things and went to the city. A few days ago, in order to bet on stones, my sister-in-law forced me to resign and come home to accompany her and watch the live streaming together. At that time, the supervisor in the company was very reluctant to let me go, and said that if I wanted to come back again, he would completely welcome me. After he went to work at 9 o'clock, I called him but he didn't answer. I sent a message, and as a result, she replied to me, "I'm very sorry, Stella. At that time, I also really wanted to keep this position for you and wait for you. However, I can't explain it to the company, but I can write a recommendation letter for you. You can directly go to my friend's company. It's just that they are in other places. Is it convenient for you?" I excitedly replied, "Convenient. Convenient. Of course it's convenient. What I lack most now is a job." After receiving the contact information given to me by the supervisor and going to the company to get the recommendation letter he personally wrote, I went back and rushed to the hotel where they are celebrating today. There are a lot of people. I saw my parents standing outside the door, smiling from ear to ear and welcoming guests. "Congratulations. You really found a good daughter-in-law." A few words coaxed my dad so much that he couldn't even speak from laughing. 6. I put on a hat, mask, sunglasses, and wore clothes that I would never wear normally. I walked in swaggering lie. After all, there are 2 happy events today. After entering, I still heard my mom complaining outside. "This damn girl. She always thinks about being lazy every day. Look at so many people. She doesn't come over to help greet them. Instead, she insists on learning something about maternity matrons. Is this something she can learn? I think she just said that to be lazy. Besides, what's the use of learning maternity matrons? I can take care of children too." My dad was annoyed by her nagging and glared at her fiercely. "Are you done nagging? You keep nagging endlessly. Learning this is to take care of our grandson in the future. What can you take care of?" At that time, were Raymond and Stella taken care of by my mom? With you like this, you still have the nerve to say it. Hurry up and go in and see. Don't let anyone go in without paying. After being scolded by my dad for a few words, my mom didn't dare to say anything else and could only go in obediently. Yes, when I was a child, my elder brother and I grew up with our grandma. To be exact, I grew up freely because no one would take care of me when I was a child. It wasn't until Grandma passed away that my older brother and I were taken back to be with them. Moreover, because we were not by their side since childhood, except for thinking that my elder brother is a boy and paying attention to him, my parents regarded me as someone who can be discarded at any time. At that time, although I was admitted to high school, because my parents said, "What's the use of going to high school? What's the use of a girl learning so much? Hurry up and drop out to help the family make money." But I didn't agree. I gritted my teeth and was admitted to a high school with a full scholarship. The school subsidizes my living expenses every month. I can even apply for financial aid for poor students every year, which is 2,000 yuan a year. Only in this way did I stop my parents from making me drop out. Even so, I only stopped at high school. Now I can become the top salesperson in my previous company entirely relying on my strong willpower. Especially after my sister-in-law wanted to bet on stones in my previous life. I could quickly recognize this kind of routine. Most of the money I earn every month is given to my parents for my elder brother's betrothal gift, and what they say must be used to show filial piety to them. Even so, with just one word from my sister-in-law, my parents asked me to resign and come back to help her without considering my feelings at all. I looked at my sister-in-law in the hall who wasn't showing her pregnancy yet. She exaggerated and stroked her stomach. My elder brother carefully supported her by her side. Plus, my mom was holding a plate with various foods and drinks on it and was serving her like a follower. I sneered coldly. Be happy. Smile more now. Otherwise, you won't be able to smile later. I'm waiting for the day when you lie dead on the street. 7. After seeing that almost all the guests had arrived, my dad was the first to go up with a microphone. Welcome everyone to come and support us. Well, next, let my daughter-in-law tell you. The relatives below were a little impatient. Here on our side, happy events usually involve holding banquets. But relatives also have to give gifts. So, many relatives who don't understand at all are not here to watch. They are just here because they want to eat back the money they gave. My sister-in-law said unhurriedly. Everyone has been waiting for a long time. We will ask them to serve the dishes now. But before serving the dishes, I hope everyone can follow us to unpack this piece of jadeite. After saying that, she took the express delivery box from my elder brother's hand and started showing off. In general, betting on stones depends on luck. I am just lucky to be able to buy jadeite that has tripled in price. In the future, if you have any questions about this aspect, you can all come and ask me. Someone in the crowd began to flatter loudly and say, ordinary people either lose everything or get nothing back when betting on stones. Very few can get stones that increase in value. Your daughter-in-law is really amazing. However, after being set off by this person's words, uninterested relatives also gathered around. Your daughter-in-law is really good. She brings good luck to the whole family. A few words made them feel extremely proud. I saw my sister-in-law quickly unpack the completely green stone that they had already unpacked at that time. Everyone took a look and gasped. In fact, even those who don't understand know that the most valuable part of jadeite is green. Sometimes a little bit of green may be worth dozens or even millions. Those who were originally preparing to watch the joke on the side became serious and started looking intently. Some people even started live streaming and showed off the express delivery box that my sister-in-law was unpacking. Have you seen? Our relative opened Imperial Green when betting on stones. Imperial Green. This is something that many people can't get even if they beg for it. Everyone take a good look. Unexpectedly, this live streaming directly attracted experts who like to play with jadeite nearby. After coming, they held the first stone and said in amazement, good stuff. Good stuff. Name a price. I'll take it. My sister-in-law didn't expect someone to come forward and take it so quickly. As a result, the second person came over and also said, yes. Name a price. Let's compare and see who is more suitable and give it to whom. My sister-in-law is shrewd. When she saw my mom was about to speak, she immediately pushed her hand away. As for the price, in fact, the anchor has already told us. I just want to hear your price and see if you are sincerely coming to take it. The two men looked at each other, discussed for a while, and held up two fingers. 200,000. You should know that 200,000 is only for the small piece. There are still 5 pieces inside. This stone was only bought for 150,000. My sister-in-law didn't show any expression on her face, but my parents' greedy faces had already exposed their bottom line. 8. My sister-in-law frowned. You guys are not sincere either. At the beginning, the anchor offered 300,000 for one piece, and I didn't sell it. The two men also understood relatively well, so they said, in this case, show us the rest. If it's suitable, we will take it all so that you don't have to sell it piece by piece. Right? My sister-in-law thought it made sense, so she started unpacking the second piece. The second piece was unpacked from the middle. That touch of bright green made the two men instantly show surprised expressions. They were thinking that they had found a treasure today. Moreover, this family doesn't understand the market at all. Even if they collect it at a normal low price, they will be willing. However, when it was finally unpacked and taken out, the expressions of the two men instantly froze. It turned out that that touch of green was only 1 centimeter long. There wasn't even a little bit more. The rest was all dry husk. My sister-in-law and my elder brother were also stunned. Impossible. At that time in the live streaming room, the two men didn't understand who the anchor was at first. Now they heard it and realized that the sucker bought it from the live streaming room. Immediately, the thought of picking up a bargain disappeared. They nodded at my sister-in-law again. Did you buy this from the live streaming room? My sister-in-law nodded blankly. The two men said somewhat helplessly, "It seems that you have been cheated." Hearing this, my sister-in-law angrily screamed sharply, "Impossible! Impossible! If you are really cheated, then this piece in your hand can't be sold at this price either." The two men suddenly remembered that they still had a piece in their hands. They took out the lamp they carried with them and shone it. It couldn't be penetrated at all. That is to say, there is only a thin layer on top, and the rest is all husk. The two men sneered and stuffed it back into my elder brother's hand. It's not even 2 millimeters thick. Can this still be called jadeite? I tell you, even if you sell this to me for 5,000, I still think it's too expensive. This made the two men wave their hands. Forget it. Consider this trip a waste. Just as they were about to leave, my sister-in-law stopped them. Don't think about leaving. You want to leave just like that? At that time, you named a price. Now you don't want to buy it? No way. These two men didn't expect my sister-in-law to be so unreasonable. They looked at her mockingly. I came because of the good color. Besides, when I offered 200,000, I didn't say I would buy this. I haven't even said that you tricked me by live streaming. Now you still want to stop me? They whistled at the door. Instantly, a row of tall and strong men stood there. My elder brother, seeing this situation, quickly protected my sister-in-law and put his hands together and said, "Well, big brother, my wife just feels cheated and is uncomfortable. I'm sorry." Hearing my elder brother like this, my sister-in-law was so angry that she directly slapped him. "You useless thing. They named the price. They have to buy it." 9. After saying that, she started rolling on the ground and making a scene. "I tell you, I am pregnant. If something happens to me, you will all be in big trouble." The two big brothers laughed heartily. "Good. I like your toughness." They clapped their hands and said to the people outside the door, "Since it's been said, then come in." After a group of people rushed in, they grabbed my elder brother and started beating him. When my mom saw this situation, she anxiously rushed forward and threw herself on my elder brother. Hey, why are you beating my son? It wasn't my son who said it. Go and beat her." On the contrary, my dad angrily pointed at my mom and started scolding. "What nonsense are you talking? My daughter-in-law is pregnant." Then he turned and looked at the two big brothers and said, "Well, two bosses. Considering that my two children are ignorant, please forgive them. We admit the stone." When these two people saw this, they didn't want to bother anymore. They waved their hands and called everyone away. The remaining relatives were all awkwardly wondering whether they should sit down and eat. But now in this situation, if this meal is not eaten, my dad's face will be completely lost. My sister-in-law was so angry that she ran out crying. My elder brother and my mom followed closely behind. Only my dad was left here to entertain the relatives. After running out, my sister-in-law was so angry that she sat down on the edge of the garden. She was crying so hard that she could hardly catch her breath. My elder brother sighed and endured the pain on his body while still comforting her. "Forget it. If we are cheated, then we are cheated. At worst, we throw away this money. If the money is gone, we can earn it again. My sister-in-law turned around and said in a trembling voice, "No. I have already." Hearing this, my elder brother finally felt that something was wrong. He stared at my sister-in-law tightly. "Did you buy more?" At the moment my sister-in-law nodded. My elder brother and my mom felt like the sky was falling. My elder brother was so angry that he waved his hand above her head. "What can I say about you? This one hasn't been sold yet. And you started buying again?" Then he felt that something was wrong. He turned around and stared at her directly. "No. Where did you get the money?" My sister-in-law stammered and didn't dare to say. But the more she was like this, the more scared my elder brother was. "You should know that usually at home, my sister-in-law has the final say. To be scared like this, it must be a lot of money." My mom suddenly slapped her thigh. "Did you sell the house?" My sister-in-law lowered her head and refused to say. My mom's hands began to tremble. "A few days ago, you asked me for the property ownership certificate, saying that you wanted to show our family's strength to them. Did you sell the house? Speak. Speak." My sister-in-law finally slowly raised her head and said with the ashen face, "It's not sold. It's mortgaged." My mom was so angry that she slumped to the ground. My elder brother also grabbed his scalp and squatted down. I saw my sister-in-law suddenly grab my elder brother's hand, as if she had found a glimmer of hope. "10, and Stella. Let's find a good husband's family for her. Then there will be betrothal gifts. Right? We have to fill this hole first. Otherwise they will come and take our house. I have friends. I have this resource. I can fill this hole." Hearing this, my elder brother and my mom looked at each other. The ruthlessness in their eyes was naturally seen by me completely. My mom could only be cruel and say to them, Okay, call Kian home first tonight. For the rest, let's discuss it later." Before they had walked far, I stepped forward and stopped them. When I heard about this matter, I sighed helplessly. "Mom, don't blame sister-in-law. Well, prepare a table of delicious dishes. I will bring my boyfriend home tonight. I believe he will definitely help me." My mom and my elder brother's eyes lit up. "You have a boyfriend? Is he rich?" I smiled shyly, and then showed them my newly bought watch and bag. Looking at my sister-in-law sitting on the side, with an envious look that was almost about to burst into flames. "Of course. Mom, hurry back and prepare. I will bring him over tonight." My mom and my elder brother agreed repeatedly and pulled my sister-in-law back and started preparing. At night, when my boyfriend drove us home, it caused a sensation. My God, what kind of boyfriend did Kian find? This car must cost a lot of money. My parents' faces were almost raised to the sky. That's right. The boyfriend our Kian found can't be bad. When we arrived home, I introduced to them, Mom and Dad. This is Ryan. They looked at Ryan. Although his face was full of wrinkles, and he didn't look like a rich second generation at all, the car he drove and his outfit could be seen to be extremely valuable. Now their minds were full of money. How could they care what he looked like? At the dinner table, my sister-in-law was extremely attentive. She either picked up food or poured wine for my boyfriend, and kept winking and saying, "Come on, Ryan, treat this as your own home." My elder brother was so angry that he didn't even finish his meal and went into the room. Originally, he was beaten all over by them today, and was in pain. None of us cared about him, and continued to eat. At the dinner table, my sister-in-law always asked where he was from. It felt like she wanted to ask about his 18 generations of ancestors. Fortunately, when I came, I had told him in advance that he didn't need to answer questions. Just eat directly. I looked at my sister-in-law with a smile. "Sister-in-law, we are having a meal. You keep asking like this. How can you eat well?" My dad could only sternly scold my sister-in-law for the money that hadn't been obtained yet. "Eat your meal and don't talk so much." Everyone at the meal had ulterior motives. After the meal, Ryan pretended to be a little drunk and wanted to rest. I supported him and walked in, whispering, "I will bring her in later. You must not do anything more." He showed his big yellow teeth and couldn't help but smile excitedly, making me feel extremely disgusted. 11. Yes. He is the old bachelor from my previous life. In my previous life, when he was drunk, he would always say, "Why aren't you pregnant? I just like pregnant women." Since then, I suspected that he didn't want a child. He just had a special hobby. So when I found him, and said that I had found a pregnant woman for him, he bought clothes with his own money and made himself look bright and clean. Even the money for renting a car was paid by him. I didn't expect that he and my sister-in-law didn't know each other before. It was just that there were friends operating this kind of thing in the middle. After turning around, I pretended to want to talk to my mom for a while, and then asked my sister-in-law to help me send in a glass of water. My sister-in-law couldn't hide the excitement on her face. "Don't worry, Keon. I will definitely send it well." After arriving at my parents' room, my mom couldn't contain her excitement and grabbed my hand and asked, Keon, how is it?" I took a deep look at her, and then at my dad and said with a smile, "Don't worry. Everything is arranged." I pulled my mom and said some random things. Then she pushed me out and said, "Hurry up. Don't keep him waiting for you." After saying that, I saw my elder brother come out sleepily. He looked around and asked, "Where is your sister-in-law?" I shook my head. "I don't know. Isn't she in the room?" Until hearing a different noise from my room and finding that my room was locked. My elder brother was so angry that he kicked the door open. Seeing the old bachelor lying on top of my sister-in-law and my sister-in-law looking satisfied under him. After seeing them come in, my sister-in-law was not ashamed either. She slowly sat up straight and looked at us inferently and said, "Now that you have seen it, I won't say anything. What you can't give me, I naturally have to fight for it myself." I angrily pointed at her and scolded, "Are you shameless? You even snatched my boyfriend?" After saying that, I was so angry that I ran out directly. The excitement in my heart was beyond words. I was finally free. My elder brother immediately beat the old bachelor until he couldn't stand up. My sister-in-law was crying heart-wrenchingly on the side. When my mom saw this scene, she didn't care about her grandson anymore. She pointed at the old bachelor and said, "Good. You actually abandoned my daughter. Now you have to compensate our family's economic losses no matter what. Pay money. Also, Raymond, divorce this bitch." My sister-in-law saw that she was about to get what she wanted. She turned around and looked at my elder brother and them. "Anyway, the child in my belly is not yours, Raymond. For making money, you are always away from home. Who can't be lonely sometimes? But don't worry. I won't let you be an unnamed father either." Then she looked at the man charmingly and said, "Let's go. Didn't you say we would enjoy ourselves again when we get home?" The old bachelor grinned and stood up. "Go back to what home? I don't have any money. We agreed before that buying a virgin girl is 100,000. Now this second in one is only 30,000 for me. Take it if you want. If you don't want it, then I'll leave." Hearing this, my parents realized that they had been cheated. 12. They grabbed the old bachelor and scolded. "Just because you say you have no money means you have no money? I tell you, now you have made my daughter run away, and I can't keep my daughter-in-law anymore. If you don't give money, then I will beat you to death." How could the old bachelor be threatened by him? He was originally an old rogue. He spread his hands. "Anyway, I only have this much money. If you want it, I'll give it to you. But this woman has to be given to me. If you don't want it, then I'll leave." My elder brother was so angry that he took out a knife from the kitchen and put it on the old bachelor's neck. "Now, immediately, get out of here." When my parents saw this, they were incredulous. "Raymond, you let him go. Even this little money is gone." My elder brother turned around and looked at them coldly. Do what I say. Don't say so much nonsense. How could my dad bear such words? He stepped forward and slapped my elder brother directly. You bastard! What are you pretending in front of your dad? My elder brother slowly turned around. Now my dad still didn't feel a hint of danger. His expression became even more ferocious as he looked at him. What are you looking at? Did I give you face? You. Everyone saw my elder brother raise the knife and cut down. My dad just slumped to the ground like this. The old bachelor was so scared that his pants dripped with an extremely smelly liquid. My elder brother turned around, looking extremely impatient. The knife in his hand just happened to fly right between the old bachelor's crotch. Ah! The scream he made attracted the neighbors around. But no one came to take a look quickly. Since then, a sign has been erected at our door. 20 yuan once. Unlimited time. My sister-in-law was locked at home by my elder brother and received different men every day. Even after having a miscarriage. She didn't wait for a day. In my elder brother and sister-in-law's room, there were continuous sounds every day. However, the old bachelor had long been locked in the utility room by my elder brother and left to fend for himself. My mom was scared out of her mind by this series of events. She went out every day looking for me and asked everyone if they had seen me. In the end, my elder brother was sentenced to death for murder and organizing my sister-in-law in this way. My mom couldn't bear this blow. She jumped into the river in a few days. I had already escaped to the neighboring city. Because of outstanding performance, I had been promoted to sales supervisor. The future is bright. My future will be better.